Everybody, thank you for joining me. This is Craig Brandt with the LiveLife Real Estate Entrepreneurs. Just making this video on running comps properly and how to determine your proper ARV. I think coming up with the proper ARV and knowing how to run your comps properly is imperative in this business so that you can run your numbers the right way when you're coming up with a max allowable offer, putting properties under contract. If you don't put properties on the contract at the right number and you're not running your comps the right way, it's really going to throw everything else off, right? Because if you're not coming up with the proper ARV and then you run your formula on an incorrect ARV, one, you're going to either, put the property on the contract at the wrong price, and then you're not going to be able to assign it over to a cash buyer, and it's really going to kind of kill your business, because if you can't put the property on the contract for a price that you can make a profit on and the cash buyer can still buy it at and make sense for them, then you're really not in business, because then you're not going to be able to close any deals. And that's the whole point to this business, right? Is getting deals and closing deals and making money. So I wanted to make this video to go over how to run comps properly, how to come up with your ARV. And for this demonstration, I'm going to use PropStream, because I know that most people do use PropStream that are getting into the business, especially wholesaling. And, I think that'll be the most useful for people so that they can kind of refer back to it and go on PropStream themselves and kind of, see exactly how it's done so that you can actually make educated offers the right way, so that you're putting properties on the contract at the right price so that you can assign them over to somebody and make money on them. So let me start off with a property that I have in Brockton. This property is on the market. It's not a property that I'm going after or anything. It's just a good one to use for this demonstration. So as everyone knows, if you do use PropStream, this is what it looks like when you pull your screen up. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your property that you're targeting, the one that you want to put on the contract, and you need to find the ARV for. You type it in the search bar. It's going to pop up, and you're going to come over here, right? I'm going to give you a little bit about the information of the house. 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,092 square feet. Call it 1,100. Built in 1955, right? Great. So let's click on it. And let's get into the numbers, right? Right, so you're going to click on comparables and nearby listings. This is where you're going to go and run your comps through PropStream. Now, you do not want to use the average sale price that it gives you right here, and that is the same number that it's going to. It's not the same number. It's close to the same number that the estimated value is at, right? That is not the number that you want to use, because what these systems do, PropStream, what Zillow does, what all these other systems do, when you just type an address in and they give you a value, they're not taking into consideration the condition of each property when it's being sold, right? So when you're running your comps, you want to be looking at properties that were just flipped or just recently renovated, right? Something that is going to be comparable to a house that a flipper will be doing, right? When a flipper buys a house and they resell it, it's going to be in, completely new condition. It's going to just been renovated, and it's going to be at, its top value. So those are the houses that you really want to look for when you're going after your comps. You want to look at houses that were either just flipped or recently renovated, or if you can't find any that were just flipped, that are in great condition, that are close to as close as possible to being, just recently updated. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take all the specs, right, that the property is. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,092 square feet. We're going to call it 1,100. You want to come down here. Now, the problem that you get when you just look at the number that the website spits out is, as you can see, they default right to this, right? They're going to default to 1 year of data. They're going to default to, I don't even know how they pull these. What do they go about? 400 below and 300 above-ish, 200 above-ish on the square footage. They don't have any minimum bedrooms, no maximum bedrooms, no minimum bathrooms, no maximum bathrooms. Those are important, right? When you're running your comps, if you're running your comps for a 3-bed, 1-bath house, you don't want to have 4-bed, 1.5-bath houses in your comps. You don't want to have 4-bed, 2-bath houses in your comps. you want to have 3-bed, 1-bath houses, or I like to do 3-bed, 1.5 bath, up to 1.5 bath houses if it's only got 1 bath, right? So that's the first thing that you want to change. Is if it's a 3-bed like this one is, you want to do minimum 3, maximum 3. So it's only showing you 3-bedroom houses. See how that just narrowed it down to 23? All right. Minimum 1 bathroom. And I like to do 1.5 if there's 1 bathroom. And if there's 1.5 bathroom, I like to do 1 to 2. But for this situation, there's only 1 bath on the house, so we'll do 1.5 for max. Okay. And then square footage, I like to go about, this one's different because the house is only about 1,100 square feet. So I don't, if the house is over 1,000 square feet, I don't like looking at houses that are under 1,000 square feet. So I'm going to do the minimum at 1,000. And then I'll go up to about 1,400. We can go 200, about 300 over what it really is. Because, not every single house can have the exact square footage, right? And I usually like to start with 6 months of data. But, with 1 year, I've got 27 properties at a half mile. So let's try to narrow this down to 6 months. We'll go back to, what would that be? June? No, let's try June 2019. June, we'll go with the first, whatever. So let's see how many properties we got. We got 14. So that's a decent amount, right? And we're only a half mile apart. So, the closer you can bring your comps to the subject property, the more accurate they're going to be, right? Now, for example, if, I had all this criteria in my filter and there was only 3 properties available, I would bump this up to 1 mile and see if I can get a little bit more, because sometimes, neighborhoods are a little rural and there's not as many houses in the area. So you got to kind of play around with the distance. But I always like to start with a half mile, because at a half mile, you're going to get closest to your subject property as possible. So for this situation, we're good at a half mile, right? And you want to make sure you're only looking at single family houses if you're running comps on a single family. We're still at 14, so that's all they were. And year built, you kind of want to take it into consideration a little bit, but I don't filter out through year built. You kind of take a look at that once you start looking at the houses. If there's a house that was built in 1880, it's probably going to be worth a little less than a house that was built in 1995. So I'm going to come over here and we're going to start taking a look at the sale prices, right? So all 14 of these properties, you're taking the average sale price and it's $287.35. This house is worth more than $287.35 after it's been repaired and after it's been completely updated. So that's not an accurate number, because the way they're coming up with this number is they're taking all 14 of these sale prices and dividing it by 14. But a lot of these sales, like you can see right here, this was a bank cash sale. So the house probably wasn't in great condition. So obviously it's going to sell for a lot less than a house that was just renovated. So I'm going to uncheck all of these. And I only want to pull properties that were, in decent condition. And the good thing here is with PropStream, sometimes you're not going to get photos on all the houses. You definitely want to try to get as many photos as you can so you can see what the condition was like when they sold it. That's why, in Massachusetts, I always use the MLS for my comps, because it's the most, accurate data. But, if I'm working in a virtual market, like Tampa, Florida, or Raleigh, North Carolina, or something, a virtual market that I work, I'm going to use PropStream because I think it's the next best thing to using the MLS. But what I want to do is I want to go over here to the sale amounts, and I want to take a look at where a lot of them went for. So as you can see, there is a bunch that were, low 200s, high 200s, mid 300s, and basically mid 300s. So first things first, I'm going to take a look at one of the properties that sold, for example, this one right here. This one sold for $335. So we're going to pull up the pictures. It's one of the higher priced comps on here. And I want to take a look and see what the condition of one of the higher priced comps was. All the properties in this area are like one level ranches. They call them campies around here, campanellis. But they're all pretty similar. But main thing I want to look at is the condition of them, right? So this one, it looks like it was just flipped, right? It's in renovated condition. Newer countertops, newer floor, newer cabinets. it's really nice. I don't like the color choice on those cabinets, but whatever. At the end of the day, you just got to look for stuff that was recently updated. We're not getting picky and choosy on whether we like the cabinets or not. So this is going to be a good comp to use. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath. It's a little bit bigger than the one that we're looking at, but still, it's not too much bigger, not a huge difference. So this is going to be a good comp for us, right? Which one was that? Bates Road? Yep. So I'm going to check this one off. Okay. So now I know that, obviously most of these properties like 220, 200, 270, 267, those are probably not going to be the most updated properties if, this one sold at 335 and it was pretty updated. So I'm going to stick with the ones that are in the higher 300s, right? Let's go down to this one, 329. This one sold for 330 basically. I'm going to pull up the pictures on it and take a look at the condition. And nice photos. The realtor did a good job. They definitely hired a professional photographer, and you could tell the style house is pretty similar. Looks like they put a new driveway into it. It's a nice little touch. And yeah, it was just renovated. Look at this. Again, odd decisions on the design, but whatever. But yeah, you could tell it was just updated. They put new flooring in, painted the walls. Looks like it's got new windows. They updated the kitchen, new appliances. They went with, modern colors, white, gray, stainless steel. And you don't got to get too deep into it. But you see, 3-bed, 1-bath. It's actually a little smaller than the one that we're looking at, right? So this one's only 1,000 square feet. But it's another good comp. So we're going to add this one to the list as well. That was Gloucester. Checkmate. And let's keep going down. All right. 319. Let's take a look at this one. It's a little bit less. And let's take a look at the condition. Same style house again. But this one is not as updated, right? You can tell somebody's living here. And it was not just flipped. And that is why the price reflects. It's sold for $10,000 less than the other one. But it's still in good condition. It's not, it's not terrible. It's still well maintained. You can tell it's still in like 2010 style. It's got the big tiles and older paint, older trim on the windowsills. The kitchen's not really updated. It's got older cabinets, older countertop. It's just not updated. But something like that, can easily be updated. And it's not a house that's like run down and in terrible condition. And it's sold for $320. So I'm going to add this one to the comps just because it's same size. It did sell for a little less than these ones did, but it's still kind of up there on the price. It's not too far off. It's only $10,000 off, right? And then let's just take a look at this one. I'm probably not going to add it to my list, but we'll take a look at the condition. This one sold for $310. And actually, it's not in terrible condition either. It's definitely wasn't just flipped, but it is, a little more modernized. It's about the same exact size as the other one. But if you look at the outside, look, it has an older roof on it. That's one thing that I tell people all the time is, even if the roof is still in good condition, right? When you're flipping a house, especially a house like this, which is really small. This house obviously wasn't a flip. Someone was just selling it. But when you're flipping a house, even if the roof isn't still in good condition, if it's not going to cost you a lot to change the shingles because it gives it that curb appeal and it gives the buyers that feeling that the house is brand new because it has a new roof. And the roof makes it look nicer. So you can tell this roof is a little outdated. It's probably part of the reason why I sold at $310. And, it's got carpet in the bedrooms, old cheap carpet, bad photos too. It wasn't, whoever listed it didn't take the best photos, not many photos either. But that one sold for $310. I don't really want to add that one to my comps. Actually, you know what? I will add it to my comps. $310, but we'll just keep that in mind because when you go back and look at your comps, and I'm going to show you guys how I put my comp package together that I send out to my buyers. It's going to show all the photos also so that they can verify. So we'll add that one on there just to be there. And let's take a look at this one. This one sold for $312. Actually, Actually, depending on how this one looks, I might pull that 310 off. Let's see. Yeah, again, it's not in terrible condition, but again, it's in like 2020 style. You got, different colored walls. The floor's got some nice, clicking flooring. The bathroom's not updated. It's, just, it's not ugly, but it's not, brand new. It's not 2020 standards. And you got the larger tiles on the floor. Small kitchen dining room. I don't like that, but whatever. But it's the same style house, and then again, the roof is not new. It's an older roof as well. So you know what? I'm gonna take this one off. I'm gonna take the other one off because they just don't fit the criteria that I'm really looking for. I'm looking for just renovated, and I have a few comps that show what just renovated looks like. And let's see, we got any more that are up in the higher 300s? I don't know why I unchecked that one. That was one of the ones we already looked at. And then this one's over 330. They don't have any pictures on here. Now, one thing you can do if they don't have any photos is you can try and pull it up Zillow also. So let's try and see if Zillow is going to give us, like, obviously I'm in Massachusetts looking at a Massachusetts house. If I really wanted to, I could go on the MLS, but just for the video's sake, I'm going to go on Zillow just so I can show you guys how you can pull the photos up, because I know not everyone has MLS access. 20 Pinehurst. Okay, Brockton, Mass. Got my Celtics gear on. Playing Philly tonight. Come on. Oh, it's Pinehurst Ave. That's why. My bad. Come on, Zillow, you couldn't just change that for me. There's no street. It's just Ave. I know you got Google installed in you. All right, here we go. Here's the photos I was looking for. So this one's sold for, what did it say, 330, right? And let's take a look at the condition on it. So it's not in completely updated condition, but what's the difference with this house? Can you tell? It's not a one-level ranch. This is what we call a front-to-back split, right? So it's a different style house. It technically has a second level. And this also probably has a finished basement, because front-to-back splits, they go, you got your living room, the kitchen, right? And you get a few stairs right here that go up to where the bedrooms are. So you got your 3 bedrooms, you got your bathroom up there. And then this door right here has always got stairs to go down to the basement. And most front-to-back splits have a finished basement. So this one's a little different style, and it's not completely updated, but it's sold for $330, and it's a little bit bigger too. So I'm actually going to keep this one on my comps, just because the house we're actually looking at is kind of similar to that one. I'm going to add that one. So for $330, it's sold in the summer market as well. So we're going to have all of these on there, right? So now, when you're doing it through PropStream, you see how you check them all off? We have 4 selected. It kind of does the math for you, right? When you run your comps and you're pulling your properties that are similar to the one that you're looking to run your numbers on, you're basically doing this. You're taking all the properties that you picked that are comparable. You want to add the sale prices up and divide by how many there is and get your average. And we're at 328.7. Now, with this property, I would, when I sent it out to my cash buyers, I would list it as 325 to 335 resale value, right? And that's pretty spot on to what this is giving us at 328.7. It's right in the middle. And, as you can see, we went down, and a lot of these properties, 285, 270, 267, they're just not in the same condition. But if you added them into your comps and you just pulled all 14 of these and looked at the average, you get a completely different number, right? So just, for the video's sake, we'll take a look at this one. This sold for 267. And they're all similar specs, bedrooms and everything. But look, this is not, it's outdated. It's really ugly on the outside, yellow, and the roof needs a new roof. The driveway's all cracked up, and the price reflects it. Porch is all jacked up, and you can see right here is some damage right there. So it's not in the greatest condition, and you don't want properties like that in your comps, right? So I'm going to show you guys how I put my comp package together. I kind of already did one earlier for the same property. I use the MLS, obviously, so I'm pulling MLS numbers, but I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like so you can see why when I send my comps out to cash buyers, they don't question my comps, because they're credible, and it shows them all the information they need, right? It's giving them all the info that I just did on PropStream and, ran the numbers with. It's putting it all on paper and showing them directly in their face, and it's doing all the work for them. So they just got to scroll through this packet and take a look. Like, it's got the property address, and then it's got my suggested list price, $325 to $330. I'd probably really do that, $325 to $335, but $325 to $330, be conservative. It's going to show me all the listings that I put on there. 319, 336 was the highest. The median was 324. The average was 326. And the reason why it's a little off from PropStream is because when I did this earlier, one of the properties didn't show up on PropStream for some reason, so it's off by a couple thousand. So that's why it's off by a little bit, but you still get the picture. It shows them a satellite image, of the map where all the properties that we ran comps are on. They're all within a half mile of this one. It's going to show them over here the sale prices on them: 336, 329, 320, 319, and the one that's missing was another 331. I didn't have that Pinehurst one on here. And again, it's going to show you they're all 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,000 square feet, 1,000 square feet, 1216, 1150. They're all similar sizes. And then to even do them one better, it's going to come down and they can look through and, now they can see how I came up with my numbers. This one sold for 336. They can see the condition the property was in, right? It's got a new roof. It was just flipped. New kitchen, new floor, new granite countertops, updated electric, updated bathroom. Everything was updated, right? They can come down and they can see the condition of these properties so that they can just look through here, see that my comps are legit, verify that the number I'm giving them is right for the ARV, and kind of go with it. And, they can also take this packet and send it off to their private money lender because he's going to want one anyways from a realtor. They're going to have somebody run numbers, so he can send this right off to them. But look, the numbers are legit, and you move things quicker, right? So now that's how you get your cash buyers to move on deals. You don't gotta make them do the work of running their comps by themselves and trying to figure everything out. And you're kind of just giving it to them and doing their due diligence for them. I get people that send me deals all the time, like virtual deals and stuff. And, they'll send me, they'll give me the property, the pictures and everything. And then underneath they'll say ARV X amount. And then they'll write like comparable properties in the area, blank sold for this, blank sold for this. But like, that doesn't tell me shit, because what that's doing is just, I could be like this, right? I can go on here, I can go on PropStream, all right? And, I could just pull up sold data in the area, because remember how I showed you guys before when I first came on, PropStream didn't filter bedrooms and bathrooms, right? So if I don't filter bedrooms and bathrooms, right, I just do minimum max, right? Watch this. You just do minimum max, take the bathrooms out, and just pull all these up, right? I can go down. If I wasn't doing my due diligence and showing, which properties, the actual specs on them and everything, I could be like, yeah, you know what? Let's see. 350. There's one on here. Let's go back. January. Right, you're just pulling it from a year because that's what PropStream is automatically going to pull up. And I can go, all right, cool. 54 Ames Road. Oh, it's right around the corner. Wow. It sold February 22nd for $348,000. Cool. Wow. 34 Ames Road sold for $348, right? Let me grab another one. All right. 5 Royal Road, $349.9. Yep, that one sold for $349.9. All right. And go down. 37 Endicott Street. Wow, that one sold for $350. Here's your comps, right? $350, $349.9, $345. Your ARV is $350, sir. No, it's not. It's really 325, right? It throws it way off because you're just looking at random numbers. You're not pulling the actual. You're not filtering out the specs of the property. You're not looking at the condition of the property. So I think that's super important. And then if you're just sending somebody a deal and you're writing just comps in the area and you're not actually showing proof of those comps and showing what the comps are, bedroom, bath, square footage, how close to the property it is, the cash buyer is going to do their due diligence. They're not just going to buy a property without running their own numbers or having somebody run the numbers for them. They're going to realize that, wow, it's not worth 350. Now you ran your formula, your 70% off of 350, right? So let's just say for shits and giggles, the rehab is 30,000, right? So if you think your ARV is 350,000 times 70%, that's 245 minus 30,000, 215, and you want to make $15,000 assignment fee. So minus 15,000, and you put the property under 200,000, and you think you can assign it to a cash buyer for 215 because you think that the ARV is 350 and your numbers, lined up to show that a cash buyer will pay 215, but your ARV is actually 325, right? And you have the property on the contract for 200,000. Ready? So 325 times 70% minus 30,000. Now you're at 197 minus 15,000. You really would have had to get the property at 182.5 because a cash buyer is really only going to pay 197, but you got the property under contract for $200,000. Now you got it under contract for more than a cash buyer even wants to pay. You're not going to be able to sell the contract. You're not going to be able to close the deal. You're going to kill the deal. You're going to cancel the contract. Now the person you put the property in the contract with thinks their house is worth more than it really is. They think it's worth 200,000 because that's what you agreed to pay. It's really only worth 180, 182. Now a real wholesaler, or not, I shouldn't say real wholesaler, an experienced wholesaler that knows how to run the numbers properly, comes through and they get in contact with this seller after you canceled the contract, and they offer them 180 because they want to make 15,000, and the seller is like, I already had an offer for 200,000 last week. Why would I take 180? Well, I mean, the property's still available, right? Like, it throws everything off if your comps are bad and your ARV is not on point. So that's why I made this video. Just wanted to make sure everybody could kind of get an idea of how to do it on PropStream, because I know that's what most people are using. And even if you're not using PropStream, it's still the same basic idea. You want to filter out the properties with the same specs. If it's a 3-bed, 1-bath, you want to look at only 3 beds. You don't want to have 3, 4, 5 beds. You want to stay within the same square footage on the property. I like to be within 200 to 300 below and 200 to 300 above on the square footage. But if the property is over 1,000 square feet, don't go under 1,000 when you're searching. You always want to start off with a half-mile distance from the property, see how much data you get. If you don't have more than like 5 or 6 comps, bump it up to a mile and see if you can get more, because obviously, some areas are more rural. You may have to bump up to 2 miles. I mean, I've had to bump up to 5 before just because it's way out in the middle of nowhere. I like to start off with 6 months of data first. So from today's date back 6 months. And again, if you don't have a lot of data, back it up to 9 months or back it up to a year. Just try to make sure you can gather enough data. And you got to take the pictures, you got to take the condition of the property into consideration so that you can actually see what a property that was just flipped and is in immaculate condition is selling for, because you don't want to see what a mediocre property that is in 2010 condition is selling for. You want to see what a property in 2020 condition that was just flipped by a rehabber is in for your ARV. So I hope this video really helped you guys out. Let me know in the comments, shoot me a message, whatever. Let me know if this video helped you guys out running your comps, and hopefully we'll stop seeing so many, contracts getting canceled or crazy ARVs getting sent out there. It's all a learning process. That's why, I think before people start making offers, they should be, looking into, getting more education and figuring out how to do these little things first so that they're not, canceling contracts. Because, when you got to cancel a contract, one, you're messing with the seller, right? Because they could be in a situation where they need money and they think the property's sold, cancel the contract. You can mess a lot of things up, or especially if they're going into pre-foreclosure. That's why I tell people that are just getting into wholesale, not like, don't get into the pre-foreclosures per se unless like you really know that you can sell the property, because the last thing you want to do is go to somebody, put the property under contract, right? And they got an auction in 3 weeks, and you tell them you're going to close on it in 14 days or right before the auction, right? And you don't really have a cash buyer lined up, and you cancel that contract a week before the auction or 4 days before the auction. That's a tough conversation. And if you don't have your contracts in line, or you didn't do make sure that you were protected, you get in some serious trouble. So make sure that you know what you're doing before you start messing with pre-foreclosures, especially. Make sure you got cash buyers ready. Make sure you got someone that you want to sell the property to already. And the whole point of this video is make sure your ARV is on point. Get that ARV on point, right? Because without a good ARV, your numbers are off, right? And you're not going to have a deal, right? So hope this video helped. Hit subscribe on YouTube so you can keep up to date with all the content coming out. If you haven't already, go join the Live Life Real Estate Entrepreneurs Facebook group. Give me a follow on Instagram at craig.livelifehomebuyer. Hit the notifications on this channel, whatever. I really want to grow this community. It's all about living life. And hit me up if you guys got any questions. Post your questions in the group. I'm always active on there. I'm always answering. And I hope this video helped out. And if you got any other questions further, drop it in the comments. Hit me up. I'm always happy to help. So have a great day, guys, and go out there and make some money.